It all started on a quiet Tuesday morning, the kind where you think nothing crazy is going to happen. But that's when Karen, yes, that asterisk kind of Karen, decided she was going to make my life her personal project. Now, I live in a neighborhood with an HOA, which already means you've got to deal with a million little rules. But I play by them. I don't cause trouble. Still, the moment she saw my trailer, my submarine trailer, parked neatly on the side of my driveway, she flipped out like I'd parked a UFO in her rose garden. She stormed over, notebook in hand like she was on a mission, pointing, yelling, snapping photos like she worked for TMZ. Apparently, in her eyes, my trailer ruined the aesthetics of the neighborhood. Never mind the fact that it was well within my property line, and I'd even checked with the HOA handbook before I parked it. But logic doesn't work on someone who's decided they're the sheriff of suburbia. Now here's where things took a wild turn. Instead of talking to me like a normal neighbor, she went straight to the HOA board, filed a complaint, and tried to have my trailer towed let that sink in. She actually tried to tow a custom trailer made to carry a miniature submarine I've spent years building. Not only is it super rare, but you can't just tow something like that without knowing what you're doing. One wrong move, and the whole thing could have been damaged beyond repair. But what Karen didn't realize was that I had receipts, literal ones, and video evidence too. I knew my rights, and I knew the HOA rules better than she did. So I fought back. What happened next? Let's just say Karen didn't see it coming, and it ended with her getting slapped with a $300 fine instead of me. Want to know how it all unfolded, and how I turned the tables on the HOA's biggest troublemaker? Stick around, because you're not going to believe what happened next. Let me back up a little so you can really understand just how ridiculous this whole thing got. I've lived in this neighborhood for over 5 years. It's quiet, the houses are nice, and most of the neighbors keep to themselves. Nobody's really had an issue with me or my projects, until Karen moved in across the street about 3 months ago. The first week she was here, she already filed noise complaints about another neighbor's wind chimes. So yeah, we all knew what kind of energy she was bringing. Now, about that submarine trailer. It's not just some rusted old thing taking up space. I built it myself from the ground up, designed to hold my small research sub that I use for late dives. It's clean, custom painted, and honestly kind of a conversation starter. People walking by usually stop to ask about it, curious. I even had a few kids in the neighborhood come over with their parents to check it out. But Karen? She looked at it like I'd parked a dumpster full of toxic waste in front of her house. One morning, I came out to find a bright orange sticker slapped on the side of the trailer, *violation. Unauthorized vehicles storage *. Now, I knew that wasn't right. I pulled out my HOA agreement and reread every page. There it was, plain as day. Trailers are allowed if parked on your own driveway and don't block sidewalks or streets. I met every single requirement, so either Karen didn't read the rules or she didn't care. Probably both. Then came the letter from the HOA threatening action if I didn't move it in 48 hours. That's when I realized this wasn't just a warning, it was a setup. Someone was pushing this harder than usual, and that someone had to be Karen. I started digging, looking through old board meeting notes and public complaint logs. What I found? Let's just say Karen had a long history of filing complaints. A lot of them. And not just about trailers, about garden gnomes, mailboxes, even kids playing basketball. But this time she picked the wrong person, because I wasn't going to just roll over and let her win. So, while Karen was busy playing detective with her notepad and binoculars, I was putting together my own little case. I started documenting everything: dates, times, photos, and videos. Every time I saw her circling my trailer or sneaking around pretending to walk her dog, I took a photo. And trust me, her poor dog didn't look like it wanted to be on half of those walks. I even caught her on camera taking measurements of the trailer from the sidewalk, like she was collecting evidence for some court case. It was getting weird. Like, obsessively weird. Then I got a message from a neighbor, someone I'd barely spoken to before. He said Karen had also filed a complaint against him for having solar panels that were too reflective. That's when I realized this wasn't just about me or my trailer. Karen had made it her personal mission to turn our neighborhood into some kind of strict military camp. Everyone was starting to feel it. Her complaints were stacking up, and some folks were too tired or busy to fight back. Others were afraid of stirring the pot. But me? I'd had enough. At this point, the HOA board wasn't really helping either. Most of them didn't even know what a submarine trailer was, and they were just responding to the loudest voice in the room, Karen. So I started showing up to meetings, quiet at first, observing. I noticed something interesting. Karen had friends on the board. Not a lot, but just enough to get her complaints prioritized. It was subtle, but there, she knew how to work the system. She was clever, in a sneaky kind of way. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just a neighborly dispute, it was a power game. To make matters more intense, I got a notice taped to my front door one evening. It wasn't from the HOA, it was anonymous. Just a plain piece of paper that said, "Some rules aren't worth breaking." No name, no signature. That's when things went from annoying to straight up disturbing. Now I wasn't just dealing with Karen. I might have been dealing with something bigger, or someone backing her up, and I wasn't about to back down. After that anonymous note showed up, things started to feel different. Not just frustrating, personal. I don't scare easy, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't get in my head. Who leaves a threat like that? Karen didn't strike me as the type to be subtle. She was more of a loud and proud complainer, so if it wasn't her directly, maybe she had someone else doing her dirty work. Either way, it was clear this had gone way past a neighborly disagreement about parking. I doubled down. I made sure my cameras were recording 24/7, and I even installed a second motion light over the driveway. Every night I'd check the footage, looking for anything out of place. Meanwhile, the HOA board scheduled a hearing. Yep, an actual formal hearing about my trailer. Karen had submitted a full report, complete with photos, measurements, and a claim that the trailer violated aesthetic harmony, whatever that means. As the hearing day got closer, I kept finding new details. I learned that Karen had filed *9 different complaints in 1 month against 4 different neighbors. And get this, she'd been warned before about filing excessive or unfounded reports. One board member quietly messaged me and said, "She's done this before. You're not the first, just be ready." Then, a week before the hearing, I came home to find something shocking. The trailer, my custom-built, submarine hauling trailer, had been tampered with. The wheel lock I'd installed was broken, and there were scratch marks along the frame like someone had tried to hitch it up. But they didn't know how to work the locking mechanism. They couldn't tow it, but they tried. I stood there in the driveway, staring at the damage, heart racing. Now it wasn't just complaints and warnings. Someone physically tried to remove the trailer. That wasn't just a violation of HOA rules, that was borderline criminal. I called the police to file a report, and they agreed something didn't add up. But without clear footage of the person behind it, there wasn't much they could do, yet. The hearing was only days away, and now the stakes were sky high. This wasn't just about proving my trailer was legal. This was about standing up to someone who had clearly crossed a line and wasn't planning to stop. Just when I thought things couldn't get any more out of control, the second twist hit me like a brick. 2 nights before the HOA hearing, I got a call from one of the newer neighbors, Jen. She sounded rattled. She asked if I had a moment to talk in person, said it was about Karen and about my trailer. I walked over, and the second I stepped onto her porch, she handed me something without a word. It was a printed email chain between Karen and a private towing company. My name was all over it. Turns out, Karen had been trying for weeks to arrange a private tow of my trailer, off my own driveway, without HOA approval, without legal authority, and without my knowledge. She even offered to cover any extra costs if discretion was maintained. That's a quote. Jen had seen the emails by accident. She works for a friend who runs the towing service Karen contacted, and the request got flagged because it sounded shady. She copied the messages, just in case something went south. I was stunned. She wasn't just reporting violations. She was actively trying to take matters into her own hands. That broken wheel lock, it wasn't some random act of vandalism. It was likely the result of her plan almost going through. And if Jen hadn't spoken up, it might have actually worked. That was the moment I realized Karen didn't care about rules or aesthetics. This was personal. And worse, she was willing to bend, even break, rules to get her way. To make matters worse, someone started posting in our neighborhood forum, anonymously of course, suggesting that I was using my trailer to run unauthorized marine operations. No joke. Suddenly, people were whispering that I might be building a weaponized drone sub or secretly launching experiments from the lake. What started as a parking dispute had turned into a wild conspiracy theory. I couldn't tell if it was Karen behind it or someone else she had stirred up, but the result was the same. Now I was painted as the problem. With the HOA hearing less than 48 hours away and my reputation on the line, I knew one thing for sure. This wasn't just about keeping my trailer. This was about exposing the truth before someone else decided to go even further. The day of the HOA hearing finally arrived, and I was ready. I had everything organized: photos, video footage, HOA guidelines, Jen's copy of the email thread, and even a printed police report about the attempted tampering. I wasn't just walking in there to defend a trailer. I was walking in to stop a bully who'd been pushing her weight around for way too long. The room was packed. More neighbors than usual had shown up, probably curious after all the buzz online. Karen sat near the front, arms crossed, smug like she had already won. But the second the hearing started and I laid out my evidence, that confidence started to crack. I walked the board through every detail: how I followed the HOA rules, how Karen filed repeated complaints without grounds, how she tried to organize an illegal tow behind everyone's back. Then I showed them the emails. You could feel the room shift. Even the board members who had been friendly with Karen looked stunned. She tried to interrupt, said the messages were taken out of context, but it was too late. The paper trail was there. She had clearly gone behind the HOA's back, which violated several rules, including ones she always quoted to everyone else. One board member, who had been quiet the whole time, finally spoke up and said, "This isn't about a trailer anymore. This is about harassment." And then came the twist no one saw coming. The board revealed that Karen wasn't just a complaint-happy neighbor. She was under review for previous misconduct from another community she'd lived in. Apparently, when she applied to move here, she left out a long list of conflicts from her old HOA. Someone on the board had quietly been looking into it after noticing the number of complaints tied to her name. That explained everything. In the end, not only was I cleared of any violation, but Karen was fined $300 for harassment and misuse of HOA resources. They issued her a formal warning, and if she got reported again for false claims, she'd be facing removal from the HOA altogether. But just when I thought it was over, I came home that night to find something on my porch, an envelope. Inside was a single photo. It was my trailer, taken from what looked like someone's backyard, zoomed in, and recent. No note, no name. I'd won the battle, but the war, it might not be over yet. After finding that photo on my porch, I'll admit, I didn't sleep much that night. It felt like someone was still watching, still trying to keep this conflict alive even after everything came out in the open. But after reviewing the footage from my security cameras again, I finally caught a glimpse of someone slipping the envelope under my door around midnight. It wasn't Karen. It was one of her friends from down the street, someone who had spoken at the hearing in support of her. That told me all I needed to know. I handed it off to the HOA and let them deal with it. At that point, I had done my part. I didn't want more drama. I just wanted to be able to park my trailer in peace and focus on the submarine project I'd poured years into. And finally, for the first time in weeks, things started to calm down. Neighbors began reaching out, some to apologize for staying quiet, others just to show support. Even people I barely knew told me they were glad someone stood up to Karen's nonsense. Jen, the neighbor who gave me the emails, became a real friend, and a few of us started a neighborhood chat to help keep each other in the loop in case anything like this ever happened again. The trailer's still right where it belongs in my driveway, and it's not going anywhere. The HOA even added a clearer guideline about custom trailers to avoid confusion in the future. As for Karen, well, she's been keeping a much lower profile. This whole thing taught me that sometimes standing your ground isn't just about proving a point. It's about setting boundaries and reminding people that respect goes both ways. And next time someone tries to mess with my trailer, they better be ready, because I sure will be.